Welcome to a bonus episode of Expat Life Germany. In the last episode, episode 5, I spoke about scams that are aimed at expats, and one of these scams was an apartment scam. I've gotten in touch with someone named Sarah who lives in Berlin, and she was almost a victim of an apartment scam. So I thought it would be great if she could come onto the podcast and tell her story of how it went down, explain how it was that she nearly fell for a scam that might seem obvious to a lot of people, and she gives her perspective. And this is Sarah and her story of how she almost got scammed. Thanks for joining, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And so you had a pretty scary situation, right? Why didn't you tell me the story of how it came about?
Well, before I start, I do want to mention that a lot of people immediately jump to say, how could someone still fall for this kind of things?
I know.
But I came from Japan where it's pretty safe and there are no apartment scams whatsoever. So it was pretty new for me.
Yeah, sure. And I always get annoyed with people because people think that they're immune to this kind of thing. But as I said in the podcast episode I recorded, these things I think can happen.
Yeah. Well, if I had heard your podcast before coming here, it would have helped a lot.
So where are you based? You're in Berlin, right?
Yeah, we just recently moved to Berlin from Tokyo, and me and my husband just came here, and we were looking for an apartment, and we were hoping to have something bigger than an apartment in Japan. So immediately we were told to use the app Immobilien. I think that's what it's called.
I guess Immobilien Scout or Immowelt.de. Yeah, Immobilien Scout. Yeah.
And they told us it's really trustworthy and it's pretty good to find homes, and it's going to be tricky. They did mention how tricky it is to find a home in Berlin. So immediately, every day I would scout on the app and find anything and apply. And I had someone write a little paragraph for me in German because they told me if you write in German, your chances are higher. Mm-hmm. So I would immediately just send out random messages to every house that I found I liked. And I don't know much about the prices as well. Like, I'm really new here. I don't know if this is maybe unreasonably cheap or if it's just a really good apartment.
Yeah.
So I once came across an apartment that was in Mitte.
Okay.
And it's a very nice area. And it was a penthouse that was fully furnished. I had no idea it was fully furnished, but the photos were furnished.
Right.
I just immediately saw it was like 100 square meters and 120 square meters. I was like, wow, 2-bedroom in this great location. And I thought, what the hell, I'm just going to send a message. Immediately after I sent the message, and it was at around midnight, I wanted to call as well because there was a number, and they told me, like, if you find a number, it's always better to immediately call. So it was around midnight, so I didn't want to call. And by the time I woke up the next day, the apartment was gone. And I was like, wow, of course it's gone since it's a great apartment.
Yeah.
After a few days, I got an email from someone who said, like, it was in very bad German, saying that he's Danish and that he doesn't speak any German. So if we were interested in the apartment, we should reply in either Danish or in English. And
which is perfect, right? Because your German is I assume not that great yet. So yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Someone who you can deal with in English. Yeah.
I was really happy when I read that. I was like, wow, I can email him in English, and there we go. That's so easy. And he had all the information about the apartment. It's fully furnished and all bills included, 2 parking spots. And I was like, is this a dream come true? Like, yeah. And I was happy, and I didn't even know which exactly. I sent out a lot of apartments. I sent to many. And this was one of the ones I saw on the app. And so after I clicked on the photos he had attached, I realized it was the one from 2-3 days ago that I thought I missed out on.
Right.
And I was so happy. So the excitement was like taking over everything else.
I feel so bad for you. Like, even when I was reading the story, I was like, oh, I feel so bad for them. Now, unfortunately, the audio drops out for a few seconds in the call here, but basically what Sarah is explaining is that the homeowner asked her to attach some documents. Here she carries on with her story.
And I thought, since I can attach anything, I mean, the documents I'm supposed to attach, that immediately means my passport photo, my husband's contract, and like our residency registration form that we had to do here, all the things that we were supposed to put. So I did attach them without a second thought. And I thought,
Right.
I hope we get accepted. You know, like I'm pretty sure he sent this out to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I had no idea at this point that he was later on going to ask me to pay without seeing the apartment. It was just, if you're interested, send the documents. And I was really hoping to get a reply. And within 24 hours, he had sent me, congratulations, me and my wife are excited to tell you that we chose you as our new tenants, and we feel like you can take care of the house. And I was so excited.
Sure.
I was jumping up and down in my house thinking I just got the jackpot. Like I just hit, nobody
This is
got
it.
There's no way that I'm going to let this go. Like I have to go through with this.
Yeah.
It was in really good English. I just need to tell you that the email was written in amazing English. It was perfect.
Okay.
No grammar mistakes, no spelling mistakes.
Right.
And it had in detail how the process would go. It was pretty detailed, really professional.
Yeah. So it's seeming legit at this point. It's seeming so legit.
Yeah, and he explained how he doesn't live here, but he's the rightful owner. And so in order for me to see the house, we have to pay.
Okay.
I said, okay, I have the money, but I didn't, it was still not at the stage where I have to pay. So I was like, okay, what can go wrong? Right. I said, okay. And he had explained that we're going to be using HomeAway, which I heard is really good. It's like Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is a real company. This is a real thing. I just didn't know that they did this kind of, I guess, like business as well, where they kind of make contracts and send money through different, like, I didn't know that was part of what they did. So I was like, oh, this is new, but I do know the company. So, okay, this is
they're respectable. They're a respectable company. Everyone knows them, so it must be fine.
Yeah, it's like, it seemed until this point, it seemed like a dream come true for me.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I went ahead and I said, okay. And he told me to send him my address and our emails and our phone numbers. And I did. And if we have the money, we should say if we already have it, yes or no. If we do, he can carry on to the next step, which he specifically said would be, he would talk to HomeAway and tell them to start a new contract. And so with this contract, or a transaction actually, he said he's going to start a new transaction with them. And they would come and check if he was really who he said he was. And they have the keys.
That's insane.
And then once they check everything is fine, they then sign the papers and they have the keys, and I would have to talk to them. It would be no longer through him.
Right.
And
so this does definitely sound like a proper process. Even I must say, it sounds like an above board process.
It does, but at the same time, even I know logically, never pay for anything without seeing it.
Yeah.
But I was like, but what if I have missed out on such a great house because I was scared?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's a great house.
Can I ask how much money they were asking?
It was one month rent and it was 1 month deposit. So it was in total 1,800 euros.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a lot of
cash.
money.
Yeah.
So me and my husband talked about it, like, what if this could be a scam? Mm-hmm. So we, out of curiosity, we opened Google Maps and we actually found the house, and we were looking at the floor plan and we were looking at the Google Maps, and it was the same exact house, and the windows and everything, like, oh, this is the living room, this is the bedroom. We were like, okay. And he then sent me another email, and this time it was in horrible English, like horrible.
So alarm bells going off right now.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm like, what happened? What happened to his English skills? And so I felt like there was something weird about that, but I was like, okay, let's just keep going and see where this is going to go. And so he sent me a picture of his passport and pictures of him and his wife. And he seemed like a sweet old man, you know? I was like, oh, seems nice and trustworthy.
Right.
And when we opened and we saw the map on Google Maps, we were like, okay, we're reassured that this is a real house. And we can go there and we can check out the building. And I was told my husband that maybe we should go and ask around in the building, like who's the owner. But then we didn't know, we don't speak German, and we didn't know how that would work out for us. So we were like, it's okay, let's just go with our gut feeling. And so then the process started. He told me his wife tomorrow will go down and start the transaction. And then he sent me another one saying his wife had already sent it. I should check my mail for if I receive anything. And he told me check the junk or the spam. And I was like, oh, okay. But unless there's something suspicious about that, I don't see why I would go there. But okay. And I got the email, and it was really, really dodgy. Is that the right word to use here? It was so unprofessional. I had to like zoom in on my phone because it was really small, and it looked like an image attached, not like a text. But if you do press on the HomeAway like logo on the email, it does open the website. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something wrong with my phone. It said like that they had checked the apartment and the transaction had started, and another email had a bank account. And so he said like the next step is for us to pay. So I didn't like the way it looked. Yeah, deep down I was like, no, don't waste this opportunity, Sarah. Don't.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna forward this to my husband. And I did, and he was like, okay, so are you sure you want to do this? You want to pay without seeing the house? I was like, it's okay. He said they'll send us the keys in 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that was possible for us to pay for this, because we had the money in cash, he said only online transaction. So the only way to do it was to give that money to one of my husband's colleagues, and he would transfer it directly to them, and we'd hand him the cash to his friend.
Okay.
And once his friend inputted the bank information, it turns out it was in Poland.
That's not expected.
No, that was completely new. We were like, what's up with that? Yeah. Immediately, his colleague asked him, what is this for and what's happening? Did you even see the apartment? And when my husband said no, his entire office flipped out on him.
Like,
what are you doing? Red flag. What are you doing? Are you crazy? You need this. And then he told them about the apartment. It's in Mitte, and it's this size, and it's this price. They were like, no such thing ever existed, ever. In that moment, I was waiting for my husband outside his office to hand him the cash. He came out to me and he told me, look, there's something really suspicious about this. I immediately cried. I was like,
yeah, sure.
I had a feeling that I know this doesn't seem right, but what if it is?
Yeah. You must have been devastated. You guys both must have been absolutely devastated.
Yeah, because immediately, if you've been exposed to this before, you'd know, like, you don't pay for something you haven't seen. Yeah. That's it. Done. End of story. But I don't know if he was actually not here, and I've never heard of apartment scams before in my life, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so at that moment, it hit me that there are people who do this.
Yeah.
It hit me that, like,
unfortunately there are.
Yeah, like, how could you be so foolish and naive? So I immediately started digging up to like make sure if it really was a scam. First thing I did was I went back to the app where I found the house, and I remembered that there was a number that I wanted to call a long time back to the agent who posted about the house. I called that agent number, and then a lady answered, and I asked for Mr. Philip, and she told me that they don't have such person working for them. I asked her that there was an apartment in Mitte. Do you know anything about it? She said, we don't have any apartments there. Right. And if there was an ad anytime around last week, there had someone who hacked their account and put up a fake apartment.
Okay. Crap.
Immediately when she said that, I was like, yeah. Okay. And so I was like, so there's no Mr. Philip? She's like, no, Mr. Philip. I'm sorry, hon.
Oh, no.
I even called like HomeAway, and they immediately said, if it's not on our site, if the house is not there, then it doesn't exist. And obviously
Okay.
the house was not there.
And I think that's also good advice for other expats to know about, because I think that's a very good way of telling as well. If they're asking for something on HomeAway and it's not actually on HomeAway, it's not legit.
It's really not. And
Yeah.
so call every number, check every place.
Yeah.
And I hope no one is as naive as I was. And
I think no, people are, and I don't think it's about being naive. As you said, like, you came from Tokyo, this kind of thing doesn't really happen there, and it's like I said in the podcast episode as well. There's so many different things that come together, like the desperation to find a place, the excitement that you may have found something absolutely amazing. You're starting a new life in Germany, and here you go. This incredible apartment would be amazing, and it just all comes together, and you can easily be brought into the process. But thank goodness for your husband's colleagues.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. That's why you need friends around you and people here to ask for advice. And you need podcasts like this to like know before jumping into anything you're clueless about.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my first thought immediately was, if I had heard that podcast before coming here, this would have never happened.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been devastated and so disappointed in myself. And luckily, we didn't lose any money.
Yeah.
Immediately, I sent out an email to him telling him, like, oh, the company's the one paying, so they're asking us if there's anyone we can meet here. I wasn't asking to see the house. I was following the rules that he had mentioned. He said, you can't see the house until you pay. So I was like, is there anyone I can see? A person, maybe? And the scammer just immediately went crazy with saying, like, you knew this was how the terms were from the beginning. Why did you make me waste my money and my time on this transaction? You know what? You're not getting this apartment, and I'll have 100 people who are lucky to have an apartment in such a place at such a price. So I was like, okay, you know what?
All right, we're done. We're done.
So I need to say something, though. When I posted that on the page on Facebook, my aim was to know, what do I do on, like, now? This man has our passport photos, and this man has our phone numbers and our address. And I was scared because he's a scammer.
Yeah.
Everybody said
it's a bad taste in your mouth. You've just given your details to someone who's a criminal, basically. That's also doesn't feel so.
Not at all. And I don't want him using our information for anything.
Yeah, I know.
And so everybody told us, go to the police station immediately, file a report. And so if anything ever happens, you have that complaint. We did go to the police, and the police did absolutely nothing.
Okay.
They said, as long as he didn't actually steal our money and there's no proof that he's using our information at the moment, they can't do anything about it. Wow. And he's not, So
you posted on the Facebook group, and I saw, as usual, on social media and the internet, people can be real idiots. They were like, some people were supportive, and then I saw a lot of people were really negative and saying, like, you're dumb and things like that. That was like,
definitely.
It was. That's unfortunately the thing with social media, but I think it's possible for just about anyone to possibly fall into these kinds of traps.
It's the thing, like, if you're exposed and you live in a country where this is common, you're definitely not going to fall for it. But you're coming from a place where this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You don't even know someone who even went through that. I don't even have a friend who ever got scammed. So I read about people who get scammed, but I don't know the details. I don't know what happened through the scam.
Yeah. How long had you been here when all of this was going on?
Oh, when this happened, maybe 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So really fresh in Germany.
Yeah.
And what has it been like since? Have you been able to pick yourself up from that experience? Where are you staying now, and what have you found a place?
Now we have. Okay. And I remember specifically on the day that we went to see the house that we have now, it was the day that he told me congratulations. So I was looking around that house and I wasn't really into it. I was like, oh, I have a great place in Mitte. And then luckily, even though I told my husband, like, let's just be on the safe side and just apply for this one too.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting that one. Yeah.
Okay. So you're happy. So you're all
I am. But the comments that were really mean did bring me down, because I was already feeling horrible myself. Like, how stupid this stuff happens.
I know. I hate social media for that reason. Like, everyone was so superior, and they know, like, everything is just stupid. So ignore the comments.
it's a page for advice, yet people
Yeah.
don't give their advice. They're rather beating you down for asking for
Yeah.
any. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad the story turned out okay for you guys. I'm glad you found a place. And
thank
thank you so much
you.
for taking the time to tell your story, as I think
Thank
it's
you for
very useful
letting
to
me
other
talk
expats.
about it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome. And I hope the people who listen actually gain something from it.
Yeah, they definitely will. They definitely will.
Cool. Right.
So there you have it. It's pretty easy to fall into the trap that these scammers set, and it's just a pity that she didn't get the support she needed when she went to the Facebook group to get some more information. I saw the comments. A lot of the comments were very negative, very derogatory, and it's just unnecessary. And we can do better, expats, especially expats that have been here longer. Instead of judging people and getting onto their back, let's support each other and help each other out and make things easier for expats who have just arrived and maybe are in a bit of a problematic situation. Thanks for listening to this bonus episode. Normal episode coming up on Wednesday. Subscribe to the podcast to make sure it appears in your feeds. Until then.